Okay, so Debbie Waite from Stronger Inside and Out.
Welcome to the Cherrywood Podcast with me, the lovely Rachel Burridge.
That's my name. I thought you were going to do it normally. And Simon Burridge.
Right, welcome everyone. We're here with Debbie Waite. That's right, Coach Debz.
Absolutely.
Before we say tell us about yourself, the sign, how long?
I'm guessing 17 minutes, 17 seconds.
Oh,
17 minutes,
I'm being
17
super precise.
Is that a favourite number?
17.
No?
7 is.
7's my favourite number.
Is it? Yes.
Not 17, no, but never mind.
Well, she could have said 7, but then she would have been
Yeah.
way out.
Okay, so we're going to go to the sponsors, and when we come back, the timer starts for 17 minutes, 17 seconds. Boom.
Today's sponsors are Medici Associates, Chartered Structural and Civil Engineers.
Based in the UK with a worldwide reach.
Visit their website on demediciassociates.com.
Bond Carpentry, where precision meets creativity.
From bespoke cupboards to second fix carpentry, garden houses, and even the Cherrywood podcast sign. Call 07738 732 931.
Bond Carpentry, licensed to drill.
This podcast has been brought to you by Shoutouts Camper Van Hire.
Roam the world, park anywhere.
That's snugdubs.co.uk. I don't know what that was all about. I think it was a bit of wind.
Oh, God.
And we're back. Right.
It's like organised chaos.
Tell us about yourself, Debs. Tell us about yourself.
Oh my goodness, this is just hysterical. I think you two are brilliant, I have to say, already.
Oh, bless you, thank you.
So, yeah, Debbie Waite. I am the founder of Stronger Inside and Out. I'm a coach and a speaker, and I am on a mission to...
Resurrect glam rock. No, sorry.
Oh, that might be a new one.
I think
We'll
I
talk
see an
about that in a
advert
minute.
about that, actually.
Oh.
Sorry, that's an old advert.
We'll go there in a minute, shall we?
Sorry, darling.
Yeah, God, honestly.
You get used to it. He does it a lot.
On a mission to stop people ruining their lives by only focusing on work. Because I want people to be successful in both work and life, but without burning out.
That's understandable.
Perfect. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Done.
So would you class yourself as a life coach? Or as a business coach?
Do you know what? I love that question.
Okay.
I absolutely love it because I spent 25 years in corporate world as a trainer and a development coach, personal development coach. Mm-hmm. And then when COVID hit, everything went online. I was like, what do I call myself? And I'd never been fussed about titles, not really into the ego stuff.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden my title became really, really important. And I was like, am I a business coach or am I a life coach? And I don't think you can separate the two.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because business coaches deal with strategy and marketing and sales and funnels and finances and all that kind of stuff. And life coaches tend to focus more on health and fitness and juggling it all. Whereas to me, I put the both together.
Yeah.
And I deal with the person.
You need to, because if you're
dealing with
burning
life
out at work, then you need to up something in your life that will give you that sort of release.
Yeah.
And the same if you need to succeed more in business, you need that. So you need both to sort of coexist.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that I deal with the person and it's that balance between the two of, well, actually, and do you know what, at work, I used to have a work wardrobe and a home wardrobe. Well, it was one wardrobe. I'm not making I've got some kind of massive drawing room, I haven't. It was one wardrobe. I'll say that again. I had my work clothes and I had my home clothes. Even to the extent when I was at work, I used to wear my hair up when I was down, just to differentiate the two.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, who the hell am I then? Well, and like identity-wise, who am I? Which clothes do I like wearing? Which one sums me up as a person? Which one sums me up as the energy I've got and what I bring to the world? And so I was like, right, that's it. I'm mixing the two together. Ooh, bold move.
Did anyone comment?
Nobody noticed. Nobody gives a damn, did it? Like, it's one of those things.
It's all in your own head. It's all in your own head.
Yeah.
As you're talking, I've noticed your earrings. They are beauts, and they look at them, mate.
And it
you know
matches.
what?
It's the jumper. It's
Yeah.
it's all the little details that I think, oh, that's just perfect.
Matching. I am a bit of a big earrings girl. It's one of my things.
You've literally got Rachel's wardrobe on. You'd wear that.
Brilliant. Love it.
I would. My daughter would look at the earrings and go, oh, if I had those shoes, and I would so she would be up for that as well.
Yeah.
So where did it all start for you then, Debs?
Where did it all start?
First sort of job, or what did you want to be when you were growing up?
Do you know what? I have no idea.
Really?
My sister was always, I want to be a police officer. And so
Wasn't her we just see outside just now?
No, it wasn't. Oh my God, that was a bit scary.
Welcomed her into the studio as someone was being arrested outside. It was beautiful.
And then I was
Welcome
looking out the window going, oh, can I see anything?
Nothing out there. So I have no idea what I wanted to be, and you know, I did a paper round. I've always been a grafter. I've always worked really hard. So I had a paper round at the age, I think it was about 12. And actually it was one of those free Thursday evening kind of papers. Yeah. And I figured out that if I delivered half of them one week and binned the others, then the next week I deliver them to that side and bin the others.
That is
and
a
I
bit
only
genius
had to do
for a
half
kid.
the work. I know, at the age of 12.
For a kid, that's genius.
Yeah.
Because usually they would just bin them all. And then one week do it, bin them all.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
Whereas actually if you did half, I'm not telling anybody to do this, by the way. That is not good. But at the age of 12, it was genius because I got paid and I only had to do half the job.
Was it a free paper, like extra? Do you remember the extra?
Yes, yeah, I think it was. No, it wasn't extra, but it was something similar.
Yeah, I think I delivered the extra one week.
Yeah.
I sod that.
Yeah.
Not worth
I
it.
wasn't allowed to. My mum would ever like, no, not doing the paper.
Yeah, but you're
it's too
youngster.
unsafe.
Yeah. No, and that's true. Some of the areas were a bit dodgy, but it was in the afternoons after school. It wasn't an early morning one.
Yeah.
So it was more acceptable, I think. And then I did things like I sold stuff at school. You know, like I used to buy bases of rings and little gems and stick them onto each other and then flog them at school for like 10 times the price. I got to a point where I was typing up. This is when, you know, computers had just come out. You wouldn't remember that. You would. No offence.
What was your first computer then? Can you remember that?
ZX Spectrum. We hugging.
I had a Spectrum Plus, the square one.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, God, that was exciting, wasn't it? That was exciting times.
Do you want me to?
Yeah.
We're mates now.
Right, so it's the podcast.
You're either a Spectrum or a Commodore, aren't you?
Oh yeah, Spectrum all the way.
Yeah.
Spectrum all the way.
Good girl. Right, go on then. What was you typing up?
Oh, their CVs, weirdly. So
right.
They must have, at the time, I didn't really understand what a CV was.
Yeah.
But I used to type them up because they never used to do it and give it to them for a tenner. So there was always things like that I was doing, and
I thought you were going to say like the bully's homework or something like that.
No. They could do their own homework.
You get those kids though in schools, don't you? I remember, right, being at a all-boys school, and there being a fight on, right? And when there's a fight on between two hard kids, everyone wants to watch it, right?
Yeah.
But my mate, he used to go in the crowd selling pens.
Why pens?
It's just whatever he had on him.
really
But
random,
the day of the two hard nuts are fighting, we were standing on a hill watching him, crying with laughter.
So not
Got
watching
pens,
the
got pens, got some notepads, got some rubbers here.
Do you know what he's doing today? I wonder what he's doing.
Well, actually, the last time I see him was 30 years ago, and he was a milkman.
Okay.
Yeah. He was a milkman.
I was expecting some kind of big entrepreneur.
funny enough,
a market stall.
Yeah.
You know.
He was driving a van, and he was 15 as a milkman. That's the last time I see him, yeah. Yeah, so that's 35 years ago. God, I feel old.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's mad how quickly it goes.
But
So, yeah.
he was a
It's
milkman
crazy.
at 15.
He was driving a van at 15, doing a milk round,
There
yeah.
we go. Then he must be.
Fair
I wonder
play.
what he does now.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Of whether
He
he
was
kept that
seeker, seeker grafters.
Yeah.
They're
always.
grafters. So,
Always.
yeah. Yeah, sorry.
It's funny,
I'm
isn't
really
it?
good at
No,
jumping.
no,
And
no,
I'm
it's all good,
always
it's all
hitting
good,
people.
it's
They've
all
always got a
good. Yeah,
bruise on their
that's all
shoulder by the end of it.
But there's a blame, there's a claim.
Yeah, be careful.
That's it, wife. Yeah, well done. Useful wife, isn't she? That's me a couple of grand down.
That's brilliant. So always grafter, always had started in a market stall, only lasted 3 weeks because I got groped by the old man who owned it, and then
He wasn't tapping your shoulder every now and then, was he?
No, he was I had time to grope a young woman is when she's got a metal pole in her hand.
Did you hit
my
him?
God.
Yes, I bloody did hit him.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't hit him hard, like, you know.
Well,
but
no,
he
you were
deserved
defending
it.
yourself.
And then never went back. And that was that.
How old was you? 14?
15. 15.
disgusting,
Oh my
isn't it?
God.
Honestly, and now I'm a bit upset that I didn't report it.
Did you tell your mum and dad or
No,
anything?
didn't tell anyone. No, 'cause I thought Dad will go down there and, have words.
Drag
I
it,
thought,
yeah.
no, I don't want that. So then I went to New Look. New Look,
right,
one of the
okay.
first New Looks in Kent, and went and worked in New Look.
What one?
Tunbridge.
Right, yeah.
My
I know
local
New
one.
Look in Tunbridge.
Yeah, love it. And it's funny because
I
my
lived in
daughter was now
Hadlow,
into it.
so,
Oh, did
yeah,
you?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. So my dad's a Shibboleth, so I always think Hadlow's one way and Shibboleth's the other way. It's really
Right,
close.
okay.
And did my A-levels. And I literally had no idea what I wanted to do, and then also I went in sixth form, and in the sixth form common room, and everyone's talking about going to university, what they were going to do, and I had no idea about university. I think I just had blinkers on, and then one of the girls, Leanne Tadd's sister.
Oh, yeah, how is Lorraine? Yeah, you're right.
It's weird, isn't it? A certain name stuck in your head. And her sister came in, who was at university, and she did a bit of a talk. And she was going on about the course she was doing, the university she was at. And then she said, you can get £1 a pint. I forgot about that.
I can see it moving behind you. You're well under. You're well under. Not bad guess, though. 17.
That was not too bad, was it? What was that, 11 minutes?
Considering I tipped you off about the last podcast.
Yeah.
Still. But you went lower, so you were right to go lower from the time
if
I
I'd
told
gone
you.
for 7, though, I would have been closer, wouldn't I? I would have been closer with a 7.
Do you know what? 7, you would have been probably spot on.
Should have gone with my lucky number.
Because it was after the sponsors and stuff.
Remember for the next person. So Leanne Tad's sister
Right.
started talking about you could get a pint for £1 with a free chaser. I suddenly thought,
I'm interested
what? What? You can basically move out, your parents are going to pay, and you can get pints for £1 and a chaser. And I was in. So that lunchtime, sat in the common room and had a look at all these prospectus that everyone else was looking at. Just flicked through. It was like, what's this all about then? All of a sudden there was this course about people and about understanding people and helping them in their careers and all that. Anyway, it was HR. So I did a HR degree. Then travelled the world and avoided adulthood for a few years.
Where'd you go?
I went to LA, Hawaii, Australia, New Zealand, Thailand, Hong Kong.
Wicked.
This one, Indonesia, on the way out.
Nice.
Yeah,
So
but
you went
that was after.
that way round.
Yeah, I went a different way to most people. I don't know why. I do most things a
Yeah,
different
a
way,
bit
to be
different,
fair. Yeah. But that was after I did some island hopping around the Canary Islands and did a ski season in France.
Nice.
Yeah, so I was like, I remember turning up to the interview for the France job, and they went, so how often have you skied? I went, I've never put a pair of skis on in my life. And they went, oh, okay, how much French do you speak? Bonjour. I can literally.
You're a chancer, aren't you?
Oh, completely. And they said, okay, well, finally, how much experience have you got working in a bar? I went, I've drunk a lot of pints, but I've never poured one, but I'm sure I'll be fine. And they kind of looked at me as if to say, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Like, we're looking for people to work in a bar in a French ski resort.
Yeah.
I've got a job. Yes. So always take a chance. Always
character.
just go for it, I reckon.
character.
Always just
It's
go for
gotta
it.
be.
Yeah.
Wow.
You just
Was you
gotta
like
be off.
this back then?
Yeah, I've always been like
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
Like this?
Yeah, like this. I came up my mum like this. Heels, earrings.
So that was that.
Personality
And then-
won through, mate. Definitely.
Yeah, always. And just going for it. And not worrying about what you haven't got and not focusing on what isn't right, but just going for it anyway. And I think a lot of people get taught, particularly girls actually, particularly women, that, and throughout my career, there might be a job, say, and it's got 10 things that they would ideally like from that person in that job. And from those 10 things, a woman would look at it and go, oh, I've only got 9.
Yeah.
I better not apply for it.
Yeah.
Most men would look at it and go, yeah, got one, brilliant, I'll go for it, it's 9.
Yeah.
You know?
They would.
It's scary.
I'm a bit like the women. I
You
think
go
of
for
the
the
9. I've
9.
only got 9. Yeah, there's one missing now. They're going to definitely pick me up on that.
Yeah. And so I'm just kind of...
I look at that and think, okay, if I haven't got that, like if they say, oh, you need to be trained in this, and Word, I'll say, well, I'm not trained on this, but I am trained on this, and this. Is that not similar? And aren't they similar aspects that you're looking for in this, and this?
Yeah.
So I would always chance.
You're very good in
anyway.
interviews.
Yeah,
See,
brilliant.
I've only had one interview in my life when I was an apprentice at 15,
Yeah.
and I'm sort of still there 35 years later.
It's funny,
I've had
isn't it?
internal interviews, but it's not the same as going to a different business and
Yeah.
getting another job. And then I've got this,
Yeah.
obviously our business as well. So I don't know if I'll ever need to ever have another interview.
Not now.
Touch wood.
But Rachel, you got a good technique for interviews, haven't you? You know when they say, what's the one thing you can't do?
Oh, it's always when they say, like, what's your weakness?
Yeah.
And I always say, I was always told to do something positive, but then turn it into a weakness. So mine's always lists. I love a good list. So I write everything down. And sometimes I do have my list set all over my desk, which can come over as unorganised. But to me, that's my organised. You know, I've got all my lists everywhere. Or I can't make a very good cup of tea. And then that always makes them laugh a little bit. And they go, oh, okay, we can work on that or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's always a positive that you've turned slightly negative. Just for them, and then something funny as well.
Like I'm obsessed with Excel or something like that.
Yeah.
When it's
Love a
there,
good
they're
gun.
thinking that's all right.
Yeah.
That's not really a weakness.
Yeah.
But if you think it is, then you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
good tip that is. I think for interview.
Yeah, definitely. But you can do that with everything, can't you? There's always positive in every weakness. Or when you're going through a really rough time in life, or you're going through a really hard situation, there is always a learning and there's always a lesson in it. And it's just figuring out what that lesson actually is and what that's trying to tell you and what you're learning from it. And when you're in it, it's quite hard sometimes, but when you're coming through it, it's like, oh, okay, that happened for that reason. And actually it's made me stronger. It's made me, you know, better at something. It's made me more loving. It's made me whatever it is. It's finding.
Yeah, definitely.
So was there a pivotal moment in your life that you then said, right, I'm going to go to...
We're still in France, aren't we?
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Sorry to jump. I think we're still in France.
Okay, sorry.
We're in France, aren't we? We're in the ski resort.
Yeah,
okay.
we're in the ski resort. Yeah, I'm sorry.
We'll come back to that. For
Let me
sure.
God, it's so bossy.
I put my hand up. You didn't see, Debs. I put my hand up.
So France. So
I'm sure this is getting somewhere.
it was, I don't know where it's going, to be fair. It could go anywhere. Be careful. Be careful. So France, best 6 months ever.
Right.
So it was over Millennium New Year. I turned up, and I'll never forget, this is completely irrelevant to anything to do with business or anything.
Oh, right,
but
okay.
It's a random
That's
story.
fine.
And actually it's relevant. It's relevant. For something, it's relevant. For somebody who's watching, it's going to be relevant or listening. So I went on my own. So I did all this on my own. So I travelled that world on my own. I turned up in France on my own. So we met in Crystal Palace somewhere and got on buses. And when we got to the accommodation, it was just like a big box, really. And we went up the door, and then you had to find your name on a door. And I found my name on the very first door as you walk in. So you go up some steps, you walk in, and my name was on the door with 2 other people. So I was in a room of 3. Anyway, so the window of the room was open, and I stuck my head out the door and went, "Oh, Celia, Fiona, I'm in a room with you." Anyway, I went back in the room and I heard them going, "Oh God, is that loud one?"
Oh, no.
It's like, oh no!
Oh, no.
And they were mates from university, come
right.
together. And I
bet
just
that
thought,
just hit you for 6.
oh, what? I was gutted because I was a bit like, what this is going to be a rubbish 6 months, like in a room with 2 people who are already mates, who already identify me as a loud. I mean, they weren't wrong, let's face it, they weren't wrong. And I'll get louder and more talkative the more nervous I am as well. So it's like, anyway, we were like that.
Oh, that's all right.
Did
you mention
absolutely
it?
like
You
that.
heard? Did you
I
tell them?
did. Later on, I did.
Did
and
they
we're still in
apologise?
contact now. No, they were like, "Oh, it's true, isn't it?" I was like, "Yeah, okay, fair enough." Fair enough.
Yeah.
But that whole first perception of what they thought of me and what I'd heard could have gone terribly wrong. But because we just got on with it. And
well,
we're
you
still
could
in
have gone
contact now.
inside yourself and that would have been it.
Really easily. Could have done
Yeah.
really. But then I was there. I was going to be there for 6 months, so I had to make the most of it. So it's one of those. Those kind of. But anyway, so that was brilliant. Got back to the UK, and I was like, "Oh no!" And my dad sat me down and went. He said, "Remember that conversation when you finished university and we'd stop paying for your education? You're now an adult, and so that's it now. Right? We expect rent next week. You blah blah blah." I was like, "Oh no, what am I going to do?" Started applying for jobs. Ended up at the Savoy Hotel.
Oh yeah.
Not
Nice.
bad, not bad. Did all their recruitment for a couple of years. So travelled around Europe, hiring chefs, waitresses, reception staff, even went out to Thailand, did a big thing out in Thailand, which was incredible to try and get people over.
Cool.
That was amazing actually, because there was, I think I interviewed some like one day 30 students, the next day 50 students, who of course all wanted to come to the UK to get out, you know, and we were going to be sponsoring them. And of course, not many of them could speak English. But the rules of their college were, if your English is really bad, you'll be a chef. If your English is good, you'd be waiting staff. And if your English is exceptional, you'd be on the front desk as the receptionist. And one of the boys who had the best English, like I could hold a conversation like with you guys, he wanted to be a chef and the college wouldn't let him. And I hired him and pretended to the college that he was going to be front of house.
And you gave him a chef. Oh, bless him. So I bet he's forever grateful.
Yeah, completely.
Did these people, some of them, you still in touch with? Or
no, unfortunately. But actually, it was really sad. It when I left the Savoy, they became really. They were really different. When they came over, they were really sweet and innocent little kids. They were from small villages.
Not seen the world.
And when they came over, although it was wonderful to give them such an opportunity, it was also heartbreaking because all of a sudden they became quite materialistic.
Yeah.
You know, they grew up really fast.
Yeah.
And so it was it was amazing, but it was also the reality of is this a good thing for them?
Yeah.
You're right.
It?
Yeah.
You know,
what we're showing them, you know, we're showing them something we're used to, but it's actually ruined them, you know.
Yes. So that was weird. So I went from recruitment into learning and development at Claridge's Hotel, which is the same group, and did all the management training, all the leadership training, all of the customer service training. Absolutely loved it. And I was like, that's the side of HR that I need to stay in, because I love when somebody is in a classroom and you're teaching them something and all of a sudden the light bulbs go off.
Yeah.
And then you can see them working with clients and customers, just absolutely brilliant. And that's where I've stayed. Went into insurance, got paid double for doing half the job that I did in hospitality. So that was quite nice. And they've done that ever since. And then went out on my own about 10 years ago.
So was there a pivotal moment in that you thought, right, I'm going to take the leap and I'm going to...
Motherhood.
Right, okay.
Motherhood. I always said I wanted my own training consultancy. That was always my aim. And that's one of the reasons I left hospitality and went to insurance. Because I was like, well, actually, I was winning all the awards in hospitality for the hotel and myself individually. And that was the best hotel in the UK.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, if I've smashed that industry, I'll go to a completely different industry so that I'm networking and having contacts in different industries. And then just kept on. I was on such a trajectory, kept on getting promotion, kept on getting awards, kept on getting bonuses. Thank you very much. And then kind of lost myself a little bit in there. Lost myself in the rat race of, to be successful, you have to have the title, you have to have the salary, you have to have the car, you have to have the, the house, you have to have the bottle of champagne. I lost myself in it for a little while. And then when I had my daughter, it was a blessing in disguise. Obviously blessed to have her in the first place, but also as hard as those first 6 months are, women get the opportunity to step away from work. And as tiring and as sore as your boobs might be and everywhere else, actually it gives you the opportunity to reflect and go,
absolutely,
what is life all about? Which men don't get to that extent.
No,
right,
they only get 2-3 weeks off and then that's it, back to work.
But we don't get the sore boobs and
bits. Well, hopefully not anyway. Hopefully not.
As if we're sitting there going, shut up!
Yes, your turn. And so that was my first thing of going, well, actually, is this really what I want? Have I just become a robot in a system of promotions and success, trying to chase something on top of the escalator, but not really knowing.
And then asking yourself, is that what I want?
Yeah.
exactly.
It's very easy to fall into that.
Yeah, it really is. And I think that especially when you're a really driven person and when you're a high achiever and you love what you do, you can get caught up in that rat race so easily. But I did go back after my first child. I went back and I did 4 days. I did 5 days in 4. So it was a long day. So I was dropping off at nursery. She loved it. And I was very much like, it'll be good for her. And she loved it. So it was great. She was so easy. And then I got pregnant with my second, and it was a really tough pregnancy. I was heavily anemic. I was massive. I mean, I got stopped in the streets and people thought I was triplets. I missed out twins and just went straight to twins. I mean, I was and you wouldn't be able to tell from the back, but I was literally
typical boy.
out here. Yes, yeah. And when I had him, I was like, no, I'm done. I'm done. I'm going to do what I always did. I'm going to go out on my own and just take it easy and do it on my terms. Because after I went back with my first, I asked for a demotion.
Right.
I was like, I don't want a team. I don't want to be in the boardroom talking strategy anymore. I don't want to be managing the team. I want to go back into running the management training, doing the leadership training, doing the executive coaching, actually doing the job that I always loved.
Because there's always this thing in your head that you've got to keep progressing, whether you want to or not. If you've really sat back, do you want to be a manager? Do you want to be a director? Sometimes you don't. But the thing is, companies just always assume that you've got to progress. If they don't see you progressing, then they see that as a negative sometimes.
Yes.
But
They
sometimes
really do.
it's about the money as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
You get a little bit of money and then you think, well, if I get promoted, I get this. I can then do this, this and this. And it's the money side of it is very addictive, very addictive. So sometimes it's that.
You're so right. And do you know what? And I think what that is society's expectations of what success looks like.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you think when we're really little, when we achieve something, you know, when we learn to walk, well done. That's our first word, well done. When we pass a spelling test, we get a gold star. When we, you know, get I know, O-levels or GCSEs star of the week. It's always about what we've done. It's not who we are, it's what we've actually done. And then
I know some very rich, sad people.
Well, do you know what? They're the kind of people who I work with now because people at the top of their game who are earning millions, who've got yachts and houses around the world and all of that, who just get to a point where they're like, well, when's this happiness thing? When am I going to feel successful? And it's like, you can feel successful every single day of your life.
But, they go home and treat their family like a business.
Yes.
You know, I've experienced that before in previous relationships, you know, where the family is treated like a business. And then they try and treat you like a business. And I'm like, nah.
It's almost like family is an inconvenience to their work, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like because that person's the boss at work, they think they're in charge of everyone, and the people below have no life, don't have to think, don't have to pay for anything. It's there's no life, no achievement. They just know they can just call upon this person and it's sorted out for them. But yet they just sit there just with their brain wasting away because they haven't had to really try for anything, you know? Or
what happens is they try so hard and they're used to working so hard that actually to not do that is really scary because then who am I? You know, if I'm not getting the awards and I'm not getting paid a hell of a load of money, and if I'm not getting recognition externally, you know, that external gratification, but if I'm not getting that,
then I'm not good enough.
Well, who am I? I'm not good enough. I'm nothing. If I haven't got that title, then...
Scooby snacks.
You know, and I think it's getting worse. I think society's actually getting worse. Now the world's getting smaller with, you know, online everything and the immediacy. Everything has to be done now.
Who's actually working the hours they're contracted to do?
Oh, never. So
you get two sides of that. You get the ones that are chancers that sort of say, oh yeah, I'm working from home, and then do nothing. And then you get the ones that are never offline. You know, their computer is always, they've either got a laptop on them, they've got the phone on them, they're answering emails at 12 o'clock at night, that sort of thing. So you get two people in life, don't you? So you get the chancers that just think, oh yeah, I can just sit at home and log in once every now and then and type something and that'll be fine. Or you get the people that are constantly going, oh, I've just got an email, I've just got to reply to that, and put work first rather than anything else. So
completely. And I think that, you know, 88% of the UK employees have suffered from stress or burnout in the last 2 years. 88%. I mean, that scares the living daylights out of me. I've been there, you know, I've had my lowest moment, and I don't want that for my children. I don't want them to feel like they have to keep going. To be able to find that success and find that happiness. But unless we do something in our generation, nothing's going to change for our kids and their kids. And that's the bit that I'm so passionate about, is a new way of being, a new way of working, a new way of living. And you can still have success in both business and life.
There's got to be a balance, isn't there? There's got to be a balance with everything. You know, Mr. Miyagi was right, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Mr. Miyagi was right. I've experienced unions being too overpowering.
Yeah.
And companies being too overpowering, you know, where the union wasn't strong enough. I've experienced unions go on strike because they run out of chips in the canteen. But yet, I've also experienced a union being very weak and then the company taking the piss as well.
Yeah.
It's all about the balance, you know?
And the human side.
Yeah.
Like, where's the human side gone in everything?
Yeah.
You know, and everyone's like this on their phones. And
Concerts,
and
everyone watches concerts.
And it comes from the people that were once humans and in the job that the people below are in. They all of a sudden, I'm a boss now, so you're just a number now. It's really crazy. You know, we all blame the men upstairs, and it is them sometimes because it's pressure from shareholders and that sort of business. That's what they're dealing with. But then you go down a level and those people were once you and they're treating you like a piece of crap. It's crazy. The mentality needs to switch.
It does. It really does.
And I feel lockdown helped it a little bit with the working at home, just a tiny bit, but it all seems to be going back now. I know a lot of companies now getting back in the office.
Yeah, a lot of them are going from work anywhere, anytime to now you have to be back in the office 3 days a week.
It's like a trust, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think if you're out of sight, you're not doing anything. And there are that percentage of people, but there's also that percentage of people that are sitting in an office in front of you, also not doing the job that they're being paid to do.
Yeah. But they want to be seen getting in early, the earliest, and leaving the latest.
Yeah,
like they'd work.
The David Brent, big pile of.
Yes.
Yeah, his tip was just to have a big pile of paper, and then when someone says, "Have you got that report?" Yeah, hang about. Gets to the middle, pulls it out, and hands it. Everything else is just plain bits
blank
of paper
and folders, and it's
how they play the game, isn't
it? Yeah. It's that perception of, you know, when you see somebody and you go, "Oh, how you doing?" Oh, busy. It's almost like busy is a
the right
badge
answer.
of honour. Yeah. And if you're not busy, well, why not? Why are you not busy then?
Well, what are you doing then? If you're not busy, then
you're not succeeding. You're not busy.
I've been in positions where I've been in a department and me and my partner at work were doing really well. But when you're doing well, you look like you're not doing anything. So they're like, look at those two just walking around. Yeah, we're under control.
Yeah.
And they're looking at the other people that are pulling their hair out and firefighting.
Yeah.
You know? But we're the ones that were seen. Oh, look at those two. The two that have actually got their department in control. Yes. So they removed us. It went tits up. Yeah.
It's scary.
And then I get approached about
coming back.
No thanks. No,
not after you treated me like that, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It's literally like they've messed it up and they want him to clean it up.
In fairness, I've been approached by people that want the people that got rid of me. You know, they've sort of gone, moved on, retired, passed away, that type of thing. And then someone else has come back. But you just remember, don't you? You just remember. Eventually it'll go back again.
Yeah,
you know?
For sure. And I think that once that trust is broken...
Yeah.
Like for me, trust is my deepest value, and I give it. But if it's broken, you can't get it back.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just so deep for me, and so and that's why it's so important with people I work with. I build that trust relationship, and that's it then. But in organisations, in relationships, if that trust is gone, you will remember it. And you could see that person 40 years later. And that memory of that distrust will absolutely come back.
100%.
And again, that's that human side, bringing the human side back. Like, come on.
Because that was going to be my next question. You know, what values drive you to your coaching practice, sort of thing? What philosophies or values would you then put into your coaching practice?
Trust, 100%. Yeah. Trust has to be there. And that goes both ways, because to me, coaching is a really, really personal thing. It's a really individual thing. If it's a one-to-one, particularly, and so if they for whatever reason, it might be somebody that they distrusted 20 years ago wore pink earrings, and therefore I walk in with pink earrings in, and they don't trust me. Yeah. Fine. Yeah. Like that's cool. Do you know what I mean? I've had loads of other coaches that I can put you in contact with, but also I have to trust that individual or that organisation, if it's an organisation, and what they stand for and what they believe in. And if I don't, I won't take that business. Again, I can refer them to other people, but I wouldn't take that because I need to be in it. I need to trust what they stand for and trust that they're treating people well. You know, I'm very much about diversity. I'm very much about inclusion. You know, if they're not displaying that they believe in that, well, they're not people for me. That's right, confidentiality is a huge thing for me. So in whether it's a group training program, whether it's a group transformational program, whether it's one-to-one, there has to be confidentiality between myself and them, but also between them if it's a group. You know, what happens in the room stays in the room, type of thing, because people need to be able to open up. That's the whole point of it. But also share experiences, because you learn from other people as much as you do anything else. So that's a massive one. Progression is a huge thing, is making sure it doesn't matter how big the steps are that you're progressing, as long as you are moving forward. And people move forward in very different ways and in very different stages, and people are at different stages of their lives. They learn in different ways. And so as long as somebody is progressing in a direction that they need to progress in, it's not about competing with each other. It's accepting that everyone's different and everyone's going at different rates. As long as everybody is moving forwards. That's another one I would say.
So do you have a coaching style that you would say, or not really?
Do you adapt around the character of them? Yeah,
I think because I've been in it for so long, I completely adapt to them. So I'm not a pure coach. So pure coaching. So quite a lot of people don't know the difference between coaching and mentoring, for example. And the easiest way that I describe this is mentoring is you find a mentor for their experience and you ask your mentor questions. And the mentor gives you the answers. Whereas a coach, you go to ask the questions, and it's the coach who gets you to answer. So they dig deeper and ask the questions that no one else is brave enough to ask, or you have floating around your own head, but you need somebody else to ask them. And I will flit between coaching and getting them to answer the questions, because it's all inside them really. Or if they get really stuck, I can say, okay, right, so from my experience, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? And I can bring in examples of other clients and things like that. So the whole spectrum, like somebody was describing it the other day as slap and snuggle. Sounds really random. Slap and snuggle is, I can kick you up the arse if I need to.
Get a grip of yourself.
I can be like, come on, you haven't done what you said you were going to do. That means you're not going to move forward. Come on, why have you not done that? Let's go. Or I can be very, very nurturing and very supportive of, look, you're going through a hard time at the moment. Like give yourself a break. Give yourself some love. You need to be able to just step back sometimes and not put so much pressure on yourself. And I can flip between the two. But one of my biggest skills is being able to read people. And being brutally honest.
Do you find that a lot of it is them not really knowing what they want?
Oh my goodness. 100%.
Because they've got it in their head, I want to get to there, but that when they ask themselves, do I really, really want to get to that final goal? Do I really want
how do you overcome those barriers that they put up then?
You just have to wear them down. No, I'm joking. Well, you kind of do. Just through, firstly, it's building the trust. I wouldn't go straight in with somebody. It's asking them a few questions, getting them to open up, probe on those, pushing a little bit further, and also checking in. How challenging did you find that? How supportive did you find that? And checking in with somebody. but it's questions. It's questions. I often give homework, and whether that's a video for them to watch for a bit of thought leadership, or whether that's some questions to answer, or whether that's an actual activity they have to do, all to be able to open up. Because you're absolutely right. It is most
some people don't ever know.
No.
I think I'm one of them.
Yeah.
I do loads of different things because I don't ever have that one thing that just get me to that holy grail there of life. You know, I'll get rid of her next week.
He's been saying that for 12 years.
Coming round next week.
Come on, I'll be round next week then. I'll see you then for another cup of tea.
Oh, dear.
Brilliant. But yeah, you're right. And also, some people knew exactly what they wanted.
Yeah.
But never go back and ask themselves that question. You know, I wanted to be a global HR director. That was the trajectory I was on. I was almost there, had a child, and suddenly went, do I want that?
Yeah.
What do I want that for? Well, because that's the stepping stones. That's the, you know, the holy grail, as you put it. That's what I was trying to achieve. But do I actually want that now? Okay. And often people just don't no one asks them. They don't, and there's different stages, isn't there? You know, I think in your 20s it's all about driving hard and, you know, working hard and achieving and blah, blah. 30s is about finding the one and having a family. And 40s is about going, where am I at now, and having a bit of a crisis. And then you work from there. But you need to know what you want at each stage.
Yeah.
And making sure that you're around people to ask you those questions, because that is the first. Self-awareness is the first. I've got my own methodology, but then the first foundation of that is self-awareness, and most of that is around who are you, what do you love doing, what are your strengths, what are your challenges, what are your blind spots, what fills you with energy, what drains you from energy. Really getting to know you, and what is it you really want. And to be honest, it all comes back down to the same thing, and that's just peace and happiness.
And it's not necessarily being absolutely loaded.
No, it never is.
Just being comfortable.
No. Yeah.
You know? Just comfortable.
Yeah. And being happy. You know, and if you've got money, well, what do you want money for? Well, I want to be able to take my kids to Disneyland. Brilliant. But let's focus on Disneyland rather than the money. Let's dig a little bit deeper of what that actually
finish your mortgage
means.
off, that sort of thing. You know?
And why is it you want to finish your mortgage? Well, actually, I want to finish my mortgage so that I feel a little bit freer. Okay, so if you felt freer, what would you do with that? Okay, and if you did that, and it's
asking them a question, but then answering it with your question that they've got to then re-answer almost.
Don't keep asking those questions though, because I'll leave her before the podcast is finished.
That'll be done. It won't be next week.
I've got it. I've got it on my to-do list.
She's already packing the clothes.
She's done.
Absolutely.
She's out there.
Take your stuff. Is there any memorable experiences or transformations that you've seen within a client that you think that is the niche, that is why I'm in this industry, that is like the perfect scenario, or that's, you know?
I'll give you a recent example. So I've worked with a business
you don't have to do
owner.
names or
no, of course. I've worked with a business owner for a couple of years who, when I started working with him, he had just lost 2/3 of his business, which were two major clients within like 7 days of each other. And he was on his knees and he was just like, I think I'm going to have to go bankrupt. I think I'm going to have to close the business and start all over again. I was like, whoa, let's dig around this then. And to cut a long story short, we really looked at it. He'd tried to grow too big. And when we kind of put our heads under the bonnet and went, okay, well, let's look at this. Why were you doing that? It was very ego-based. It was he'd left a company where the people he used to work with were his direct competitor. And so it was ego. It was, I want to beat them. Yep. So he grew and he grew and he grew and he grew. He was doing great. But he had a lot of eggs in only a couple of baskets, which obviously went wrong. But also when you broke it down, he wasn't earning any more money through his growth. He just had more outgoings and more stress. So we looked at him and we were like, well, let's bring it right back down to basics. And okay, so you've lost them. So let's have a look at your team. Let's have a look at the strengths. Let's have a look at weaknesses. Let's plug the weaknesses and let's look at, and we went through a series of different things. And the biggest difference was he started eating healthy. Right, so we did all that business stuff, and that's what he came to me for. But what we ended up doing was his health. He stopped drinking as much as he was drinking.
All right.
He started eating healthily. He started moving his body. And he did it in a way so he felt better about himself. And we were working on the business. And of course, the two put together meant he's
More
actually
energy,
just sold his business for £7 million.
Brilliant.
Wow.
So it's like amazing.
Yeah.
But often people come to me for one thing, which is what they want, which is focus on the business. But actually what they need is more self-awareness.
Yep.
Healthier lifestyles. And when I say healthier, I mean mentally, physically, emotionally, and financially, and build on their relationships. And that kind of goes up in my modality, my model. And if you look at your self-awareness inside and put the mirror in, stop looking out and put the mirror in and go, right, who am I? What are my strengths? What do I love doing? Where am I heading? Where's my mental health? Where's my physical health? Where's my emotional health? Okay, let's look at my relationships. You know, what's my relationship like with my loved one? Completely broken. Right, well, let's start there then.
Yeah.
But you can't put love into that until you're working on yourself.
Yeah.
And again, as cheesy as that sounds, that is what it is.
Yeah.
Who am I hanging out with? Who are my friends? Who are my colleagues? Who am I networking with? Are they people who are filling me up with energy and love and instead of sucking it out? And then and only then, when you've gone through those steps, will your business ever be what you want your business to be? And that's when the happiness comes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I was going to offer your viewers a free workshop on that. So I'll
go for it.
On that,
yeah, do you want to tell them a little bit about it, how they can get hold of you and stuff like that?
Yeah, sure. So my website.
We don't have to wrap it up yet.
Yeah, no. You know, my website is www.strongerinsideandout.co.uk. I hang out mainly on LinkedIn. I was on Facebook and Instagram, but it's not my bag anymore because I'm fed up with them kicking me out, basically.
Why did they kick you out?
I have no idea. Somebody hacked into my account and put something naughty on there. And
Sorry.
It wasn't me. It was not me before you say it. I've been all serious then, giving my website. Now I'm talking about getting naughty things on Facebook.
Blimey.
But then, because they kicked me out of my personal one, I couldn't access my business one. And it was zapping me. One of the things it was zapping me of energy was being on social media all the time, trying to drive traffic. And so I was like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm just going to stop and do it my own way. But yeah, if anyone wants to come and say hi on LinkedIn or go onto the website, or I'm Debbie Waite, WAITE, at strongerinsideout.co.uk, and I can send them a link to the workshop.
Can you give us a typical scenario of someone contacting you for the first time?
Mainly business owners or senior execs who have got to a point where they're working, and they haven't got any time left in the day. They're feeling stressed out and something needs to change. Perfect. Essentially. That often comes around, I want to grow my business bigger and faster and earn more money, but I haven't got any more hours in the day. I'm doing something wrong. I need to figure out what it is. Or quite often, they don't say this at first, they're having problems in their marriage because they're completely disconnected from their other half or their family, or they're not spending enough time with their kids. And often it's because they're not spending enough time on themselves. But it's normally somebody who wants a promotion or wants to grow the business, but is just stressed out and burnt out and tired and exhausted.
Have you experienced a lot of, this is going to sound wrong, I'm going to word this so wrong.
Go on, I'm looking forward to this now.
Let me have a think. So someone's given 90% into their business and you realise, I feel this happens a lot, right, Debs? And I have no idea, but I feel this happens a lot. So they're given 90% of their business, and the reason they're doing that is because they're so unhappy at home and they need to separate, basically.
Yes, I've had exactly that. I've had exactly that. I've had a couple of people.
What was the question?
Yeah, good point.
You gave us the scenario, but you didn't actually say what the question was. I was still waiting for the question.
Do you find that most of the clients you have, it's mainly their personal life and getting away from their personal life?
Yes. Yeah. It's there we go. That's the question, isn't it?
I was like,
but I didn't want it to feel so negative. But I've got a feeling that is a high percentage of your people.
Yeah, and do you know what? I deal with mainly high achievers. They're the people who they're driven, they love work, it gives them a buzz, it gives them that external gratification that they need.
And sod the others.
And it's the more they're like, oh shit, I don't think my relationship.
They pull away, don't they?
They're like, that's really hard to deal with. I'll go to my comfort zone, which is business.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm good at that, or I used to be good at that. And I know that I can get some measurable outcomes by that. And therefore, what I'll do is, I know that's not working very well, but that's too tricky, that's too hard. What I'll do is I'll put more into work, that gets even worse, more into work, and they need to break the cycle. And normally they reach out to me when they know they need to break the cycle, or it's
you find it's
somebody higher up going, right, one of my leadership team, I can see that they're really stressed, I need to do something here. Or I'll go into an organisation and go, right, what's going on overall, what's the culture of this business and what's causing and driving the stress, and I will do a consultation piece, and I will meet with their leadership team, and then we'll put things into place organisationally, which, when are you celebrating successes? How are you measuring success in the business? There's a lot of, you're not doing this and we haven't met that target, and
where's your praise?
Let's go back. Exactly. Where's the praise? Where's the achievement? Where are people feeling good? I'm all for setting really challenging goals, but if they're too challenging, no one's ever meeting them, that's really demotivating. Particularly at the moment, the world's tough, right? It's hard.
Got to do baby steps, haven't you?
Yeah, and it can be simple things like that. Let's look at it organisationally. So I do the both. I do the one-to-one and the group coaching, but also the organisational consultations.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Any more questions, Rachel?
No, I think I covered all mine.
Anything else you want to cover before we kick you out of this place and get you arrested along with that other person?
The scary one. Were you going to say something?
No, it was just sort of like a lasting sort of thing. Like if you had, if you could leave one sort of key message for our listeners out there about relationships or business and linking the two, what would it be?
I think the biggest piece of advice, and this is what I talk on when I'm on stage, I do quite a lot of speaking gigs about don't let your business kill you. And I mean that literally. People are dying in this country from working too much, being too stressed out and burning out, literally dying. And the biggest thing of that is what we were talking about just now, which is figure out what it is you really want. What is it that you're driving towards? What is it you're running towards? What is it that's at the end of the tunnel that is going to bring you that happiness and that joy? And how can you bring that closer and feel that right here, right now? Because it's here already. We just don't see it because we're so blinkered in what we think we want that we're not focusing on the things that we've already got, which is all around us. That's the biggest thing.
Have you successfully got to that, would you say, with most clients? Or do you feel that they're just coming up with an answer because they think that's the sort of answer?
No.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I see exactly what you mean.
Well, I'm good at that, so maybe I want to do that.
Yeah, no, I think because I never work with somebody just on a one-off. In terms of a one-off session,
of course,
together.
Yeah.
And so they think at the beginning they've answered the questions, but when they end up, they really know. And the change in the and you know what? It's almost like somebody comes in and they're like this. Their shoulders are up here and they're a bit like this, and or they've got this fake smile going on, and they're thinking my life is great, and I've got a great business, and I'm married, and I've got kids, and I've got I go to the gym every day, and I socialise, and I go to networking events, and then
scratch yourself.
When they feel it, they're like, it's almost like somebody has released, and they've let go of that external pressure. They've let go of the voice of their parents often of what success looks like. They've let go of their bosses.
And the social so I can't say the word, social facade they have to put up to say, this is what I'm doing. Look at me, everyone.
I was just about to say that, I've worked with a lot of actors, and the best actors I've ever seen are managers and above.
Oh, completely.
Best actors ever.
Completely.
Speaking the company philosophy all the time.
Yeah.
When they really don't believe it, they just know there's a paycheck coming along,
Yeah.
Best actors ever. They really are.
And it's harder.
And it's sad because I've always just wanted to be myself.
Yes.
Yeah. And the outspoken ones, God, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're the ones that are negative. No, I'm a human.
Realistic.
I'm a human.
Yes. And I think that's becoming more acceptable now. I really do. And I think we are on the cusp of a wave, and I think there is change happening, particularly for men as well, because I believe that if anything's going to have change for women in the workplace, things have to change for men first. And that
which is sad, but
that
you're
fear
right,
of vulnerability and being able to go, I don't know all the answers, you know, that until that changes, then nothing's going to change for women. So we keep on focusing on the women, hold on a minute, there is massive risk and massive mental health problems for men because the facade that they have to be the strong ones, they have to lead the way at home.
But they're the scared ones.
But they're the ones
scared
that are petrified. And do you know what? I used to only focus on women, and now what I find is most of my group programs are women, and most of my one-to-one clients are men, and it's mostly the people at the top who everybody look up to. So they've got teams underneath them, all looking up to them to be the leader, and they're really good at what they do, and then they go home and their partner is looking at them for financial support, and then their kids are looking at them because they want more of them, and they want to play football in the garden, and they want to do a puzzle, and they get to a point where there is so much pressure on their shoulders that they're just like, where do I go from here? I am absolutely screwed. And that's why the suicide rate is so high in this country. But there is absolutely an answer, and we are changing things from a individual level inside, hence why it's stronger inside and out. So it's about getting stronger from the inside, knowing who you are, taking care of your health, building those relationships with yourself before anyone else, and then looking outside rather than the other way around. And there is change happening from every single level. And so there is hope. So anyone's feeling like that, please get in contact, because there is hope and there is change coming, and there is support out there for you. 100%.
That's brilliant.
So how do you personally deal with the work-life balance then?
That's a good one, mate. Always about the wrap it up.
Do you know what? And this is why I'm so passionate about this, because I struggle with this. Right. And it's because I was on that trajectory, and I was that high achiever. I still am a high achiever. But I'm a high achiever at home as much as work now.
Yeah.
And do you know what the biggest thing for me was? Not growing my business as much as I really wanted to.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, I need to be on global stages, and I need to have a massive team, you know, all different types of coaches, you know, mental health coaches and menopause coaches and trauma coaches and personal trainers. And,
sorry to jump in, but people think that's going to stop, that you'll get to a success level and your brain's going to go, oh, I'm happy now. Yeah. It never stops.
It's always wanting more.
Even Elon Musk wants more.
Yeah.
Always.
Every single
And that's where you've got to rein it in.
Yeah.
You've got to rein it in, because that will never stop, no matter how successful you are.
Steve Jobs on his deathbed. There's a beautiful quote. I'll send it to you. There's a beautiful quote of him basically saying, I've got everything that everyone wants, but I've got nothing. Basically, I'm lonely. His words were, I am lonely.
Yeah.
And that's the essence. And the hardest thing for me was accepting that motherhood is the most important role on this planet. And that needs to be celebrated. And that needs to be seen as, if you are a parent, you know, I say motherhood because I'm obviously a mother. This is about parenthood. Parenthood needs to be put first, because we are bringing up the next generation. And if we're getting that wrong because we're so focused on having it all, and so focused on, well, as a woman, I need to be able to work, and I need to be able to look after the kids, and I need to clean the house, and I need to cook from scratch, and I need to have all the washing done, and I need to get to the gym, and I need to socialise, and I need to network, and I need to blah, blah, blah. I need to look after my elderly parents because they're old, and I need to look.
It's the word need.
It's the,
what you want to do.
Yeah, and it's the, well, what do you actually need to do?
Well, you know, you need to almost prioritise. There's sort of like you need to say, okay, I need to do this, but I want to do this. So you need to have almost a list of priorities that you say, I need to look after my children. You know, that is 100%
need to provide for them. Yeah. Keep them alive. That's always a good thing.
Keep them alive, tick.
But
then what I want to do is I want to go out and socialise maybe once, you know. So there is a difference, I think, and you need to prioritise. Yes, I have to look at the moment, I have to look after my elderly parents. But in a few weeks' time, I might want to go out and socialise just to get out of that bubble of what I need to do, and then just take a step to the side, really. So
yeah, definitely.
I've got one question. Is there someone you still would go to if you know, I don't know, had a brain freeze or something like that?
100%. As a coach, I absolutely need a coach.
Really?
Because it's really, I'm really good at helping other people, and
not yourself.
I'm really good at identifying their issues and their problems really
You need to turn that mirror around, Debs.
Exactly. And the best way to do that is to have somebody else asking me the questions. Definitely.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing I did was the self-awareness work, which was, what is it to be at my best, what do I absolutely need in my life? What do I need to be doing or not doing to be at my best? Exercise for me is an absolute no-brainer. And I don't necessarily mean, you know, I lift weights, I love weightlifting, but that might be a walk in the woods. Yeah. You know, it's
so good for your mental health.
Exactly.
So good.
And if I don't have that, I really struggle.
Yeah.
I am
exactly
like a sponge emotionally. I have to be around the right kind of people. And if I've got people around me, whether that's from a business perspective, a networking perspective, or a personal perspective, that don't give me the right energy, they're taking it all the time. Now, I'm not talking about ups and downs in relationships, friendships. But you know what I mean. But I have to be really careful who I hang out with, because I will be like that energy.
Yeah.
You know, I always say to people, you are like the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So if you think about that for a minute, you're like, oh my God.
I get told for saying some bad stuff. She's loading the gun.
I know, he can get away
She
with it.
loads the gun on everything.
I'm like that little devil and angel
She
on
is.
his shoulder, and I'm like, do this.
All of the funny stuff that I've done, some of the funny stuff that I've written in comedies, she's the one that's...
That's just
But
brilliant.
she's just not got the bottle to fire the gun.
You do it, you get the punishment, and then I'll just step back. and then I'll go, oh, I said that. And then I'll take credit for it.
It's done. I love
Is there any?
So, yeah.
Is
Go on.
there a client that you've actually said, I can't work with
Yes.
you? Really?
Yeah, recently actually. Yeah, a corporate client who contacted me to work with me, and I had a meeting with all of their board about where the business is going, what they stand for, what it is they need help with. And throughout their conversations, I deselected myself and said, you know, as excited I am for you to be doing what you're doing, I'm not the right person for you, because I'm not saying their values were bad, but they were very much in that very hard-hitting masculine environment, which is you know, I deal with a lot of law firms, accountancy firms, insurance brokers, but the way they came across wasn't that they were willing to learn and move. Right. They wanted me to go in and wave a magic wand, but they weren't prepared to do anything about it.
Right, okay.
Did you tell them that?
Like, yeah. I gave them the feedback and just said, look, this is my perception is this is what you want, and therefore I'm deselecting myself. And you know, if that
That's
ever changes,
empowering.
it's scary, but it is empowering.
I bet you walk out of there, head held high, go, have that.
I bet you get more respect doing that than you would saying, "Oh yeah, I'll take you on," and then like panicking about it, and then saying, "I can't." I would have more respect for someone to hold their hands up and go, "You know what? This isn't for me. I'm really sorry. I can't do this."
I think you've helped them just by saying that to them.
Yes.
Because they're like, bloody hell, what are we doing, Mum?
Yes.
If she won't even consider starting with us, what are we doing wrong?
Well, I think to be fair, they're probably so much in their egos. They're a bit like, who does she think she is?
You get that odd person.
But you plant the seed, and I would have got them thinking. And individually, and sometimes I've met people, because I always give a free 30-minute consultation, which people gain a lot from in that half an hour. So if they sign up with me afterwards, great. If not, they've got half an hour of coaching. And sometimes I'll be like, look, as much as I want to work with you, I know somebody else, but financially they might not be able to afford me, or it's not the right time from them, or I might have a coach who's got slightly less experience that would be able to help them, but they wouldn't be able to help somebody who needs a bit more. And so I only have, and this is a part of answering your question 3 questions ago about me managing my own work balance, is I only have a very short amount of hours in a day, because I do school runs. I do school runs, and I will not do that.
That's
you know, it's
Can you do our kids for us?
Just get a minibus. just go round, do the whole thing. And so if I'm running out of hours, I have to choose the type of clients that I want to work with. And I'm in a very privileged position to be able to do that. But I've worked really hard on myself to be able to know what clients I do and don't want to work with, and to network and have people who I could pass those clients to. So it's kind of win-win.
So did you pass those people on to some?
Not the board ones, no.
No. All right, brilliant. Yeah. It's been brilliant having you on.
Oh, I've loved it. Thank you so much.
Amazing.
Every now and then we have co-hosts come on because Rachel can't commit to this podcast because she's just not very good enough. She needs coaching. And but we'd love to have you on as a co-host if you want to, because you're a bit mental as well.
Yeah.
And,
I fit in quite well here, don't I?
and you can talk. So we have lots of co-hosts that have been on the show before. So I'd just like to have a little pot that I can say, look, Rach can't do this. I think you'd be good for that.
Bring it on. If the time works, obviously.
No, you've got to commit. It's going to be in school run time, so... I'm not the one for you, Simon. Walks out of her head held high. Okay, so do you want to give everyone your details again, and then we'll talk about a song of your choice. So we get every guest to choose a song that they think's...
To add to our Cherrywood playlist.
Oh my goodness, that's hard. Right, okay, so my brain is now gone. Blah, blah, blah. I don't listen to music, you see.
Oh, wicked.
How weird is that?
Yeah.
How weird is that? And so my brain has suddenly gone, they've asked me a music question.
Some people go for first dance song if it gets you out the
I
crap.
can't remember what that was.
Can you not remember?
Ellie Goulding, something.
How long will I love you? How long will I... That's not your first
He's
dance.
singing to me.
That is not your first dance song, How Long Will I Love You, is it? It's like, we're going to have a dance.
No,
How long are we going to be together for?
No, it can't be that one.
Oh,
it was an Ellie
we should
Goulding
have had
song.
that one.
It's really bad. I should know this, shouldn't I? I'll find out.
How long have you been married?
13 years.
That's all right then.
Yeah, it's a long time ago, right? I've had 2 kids in
So
that
99?
Yeah.
No, we'll be 2012.
No, 11.
Yeah, 11. We were 12. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry, that's
some time
absolutely...
ago.
I accept that. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
We got married near you, actually. We got Penshurst Place.
Oh, did
Yeah.
you? Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Oh, it's lovely there.
It rained all week, and then on the weekend we were like, oh my God, it's so hot.
Oh, perfect.
Yes.
So nice.
But almost too hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly the same with my wedding, actually.
We arranged for taxis to pick up all of our guests. And guess who the taxis forgot? The bride and groom. Stranded there.
We were left there like, I don't think there's a taxi coming back.
And this is at the end of it.
We're just laying on a field outside Penshurst
we were
Place.
literally sitting there like, 1 o'clock in the morning. I don't think there's a taxi coming. We had to pay for it.
At 1 in the morning.
We were going to hitchhike because who cannot resist
Who's
the
going to
bride and
not
groom?
stop?
Oh, my
We should have
goodness.
hitchhiked. It would have been
Oh, my
hilarious.
goodness.
Who's not going to stop for a bride?
Oh, that would be good.
It'd be funny if Burt Reynolds turned up. She's too young now. Not a clue. Not a clue.
Reynolds is. That would have been brilliant, actually. That would have been really great.
So, song?
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
Details or song?
Yeah,
Song and details. Details
Oh, yeah, go on
are
then.
Debbie Waite from Stronger Inside and Out. And my website is www.strongerinsideandout.co.uk. And come and say hi on LinkedIn.
Perfect.
Song. So, do you know what? I genuinely do not listen to music, but the only song that I can think of is Nina Simone. I don't even know the title, but Birds Flying High.
Oh,
Birds
yeah.
flying high.
You know how I feel.
Yeah.
Ooh, that reminds me of like Virgin.
Feeling Good, the song's called.
Like Virgin.
Yeah.
Well, the only other one I was thinking of is Like a Virgin by Madonna, because I used to like a bit. Yeah, that's really weird.
That's weird.
That was like some kind of weird energy going between us. That was.
So it's called Feeling Good, the song.
Is that what it's called? Feeling Good. There we go.
Okay, we'll put that on.
Nina Simone.
I'll stick Like a Virgin on for you as well.
Yeah, go on. Just for fun.
Anyway, this is nearly our full year. Well, it is our full year. When this episode comes out, we've been going for a full year. So I want to thank everyone who's subscribed. Over 178,000
Wow, well done.
people in the first year. So we've done really well. And
brilliant.
appreciate that. And thank you very much. We'll carry on going for another year, I suppose. Well, the sponsors want us to. So, yeah, we'll go for another year and we'll see you all soon. So,
Thank you.
Bye. Club Awesome, for autistic children and their families, a place where everyone belongs and fun knows no age limit.